the Better Life, Better Work show, and I'm your host, Allison Crow. I'm an intuitive life and business coach here to help you create better life and better work. I help super successful people, the recovering overachievers, put the soul back in their lives, and I help soulful people create success. On this show, topics range from the mystic to the logistic, and our content will support your being and your doing while on your path to create better life and better work. More is not better. Better is better. Hey, soulful people. This is episode number 149. I'm Allison Crow, your host, and today I have a special treat for you. I have Dr. Erin M Baker, entrepreneurial coach and social psychologist. They are a self-leadership and business mentor to entrepreneurs and transformational leaders. But more than that, no, not really. And they're also one of my internal family systems pals. And Erin and I totally geek out about internal family systems together. And originally I had wanted to bring a very formal and, almost class-like just intro to internal family systems that I've been diving in. And I kept putting it off. And I knew that I was going to bring Erin on for an episode where we just kind of geek out on it. And so that's what you're getting today. You're getting our Geek Out episode. We're doing it happy hour style, and super excited to share a little bit about internal family systems. It is more than a modality. For me, it's a modality and a paradigm and a spiritual practice. And so I hope you enjoy this episode with me and my good friend, Dr. Erin M Baker. Hello. This is episode number 149 of the Better Life, Better Work show. And I've been planning to do two podcasts. One was like this super serious. Oh, wait, hold on. I don't want to be in this position. Okay. Here's what's going on for those of you watching and for those of you listening. I have had it in my plans to share a very informational introduction to IFS. What's this parts work that I notice my voice that I'm talking about? And then I wanted to have Erin on because we've been nerding out over this. And so I was like, I'm going to do this intro one and kind of explain what it is. And then I'll do the fun one with Erin. And I was just thinking of Erin and she just posted and I was like, what are you doing now? So here's what we're doing. I have a drink. You
inspired me to get one. So we'll see what happens.
And so
it's almost 5 o'clock here on the East Coast.
Erin Baker is here. Do you have a middle name?
I do. So I'm Dr. Erin Baker. I'm Dr. Erin M Baker on Instagram because it turns out when you take your wife's last name, you become completely ununique. So there are Erin Bakers out there in the world, including one who makes granola. So I have to use my middle initial so people find me.
Dr. E.
Dr. E. That works for me.
Dr. E is one of my newest friends and just biggest soul crushes. And she was willing to come and talk about this right now. We've been she's been a peer. I don't know when you start. You told me when you started your therapy, but I started doing IFS in February and know this is it. And this is it. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say these two things. We are going to have a lighthearted discussion about something that's really deeply and serious to both of us. And so it's more of a happy hour chat because we're having a happy hour with it too. And I just think it will be fun. And so I'm sure all your parts are welcome. All my parts are welcome. And I want to hear introduce yourself, how, in the most playful, fun way that you want to. What are your parts want to be known as we come into this podcast together?
Well, I'm going to start out with, I don't know where it is. Oh, it's on my shelf. Let me go I'm not just Dr. E. I am Dr. Bagel.
That makes me think of my cervix.
Gross. So when I was in college, I turned out to be all of my friends' therapists. Who knew I was going into the coaching world 20 years later? And there was another Erin in the group. And I had this idea that everybody has a spirit pastry. And for some reason, I was stud bagel because I was tougher than a stud muffin. And so Bagel became my nickname, and all of my college friends know me as Bagel. So when I got my PhD back in 2014, this showed up.
Dr. Bagel.
And I love it because it's a representation of like, yeah, I'm kind of a serious person about certain things, but I'm also a big ass goofball.
I love that.
So I even just recently started allowing people to call me doctor because I was like, it's too serious. That's too stuffy. That's too professory. But turns out I got a PhD, so I might as well.
I know. Right? Like, right? And that was one of the other things. Like when you told me, you had lived in Austin, you come from academics, you got your PhD at the University of Texas. Hello, yep. My double alma mater, and still crave my PhD, but actually being friends with you has convinced me not to do it. And I'm just going to call myself not PhD, Dr. Allison. Erin is also, she's a transformational coach. And we met on Facebook through our other communities that, we've could have crossed rooms forever.
We met because I stalked you. I'm going to be real honest. I'm real honest. Like, I don't know if it might have been Niyama, Ashong, or some people who were like, you need to follow Allison Crow. And you're part of the same communities. And then I started reading all your stuff and I'm like, woman, get out of my head. Like, what are you, every freaking post? And my parts, because we'll talk about this, we're going all ape about how I'm not showing up. I'm not saying things. Why is she saying what's in my head? I should be saying what's in my head. And then at some point we finally got in touch and realized we're just super dope people who think very similarly.
I know. We do have a lot in common. I love that. How do you describe, like, if someone says, what's IFS? How do you describe it?
I start with this idea that what if we are not a singular being, but we are made up of all these different identities and values and beliefs? And what if we can talk to them directly and welcome them into our lives rather than try to exile them? What if they all have positive intent? So I really start with the part stuff. The self-leadership is secondary, but I really like this idea of being a constellation. And it really resonates for me because, I identify as non-binary gender, which means I'm holding this paradox of male and female all the time. And as I started exploring all these paradoxes, I'm like, we are multiples. And they are like these little entities, right, that are communicating with each other and trying to make the system work. And so when I first heard IFS described as parts, I went, I've been thinking this way my whole life. I have been talking about my clients and all of them being welcome my whole life. And here's this framework that's backing me up. That's pretty cool.
My heart gets so happy because, right, like you, I had the experience of, my therapist sent me this book that talked about this framework. And I was like, oh my gosh, this makes sense. I've already been talking about this. And I talked with clients today about what it means to be what I call self-centered. Like I've long said that be self-centered. If we're self-centered, then everything that touches our orbit gets the benefit. And I've also even in the early days of hardcore real estate coaching, like a part of me feels like this and a part of me feels like that. And then I have a little bit of formal training in like inner child work and stuff like that too. And the things that I recognize. So Erin and I have a fun saying together that I can't remember if it was my coach I used this to, and I make up that she looked at me crazy, but that's the part that's been running the show for the week. But I was like, parts emergency.
Yep.
And it's just so healing to be able to go, I'm in a parts emergency. And someone goes, I gotcha. I totally get it.
Totally. And I've been using that in my head too. And like, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, I just want to tell Allison I'm in a parts emergency right now because 2 days ago I had a major freak out on something and I was like, oh my God, it's a parts emergency.
I think that's the other reason, like one of the reasons I like the spontaneous is that instead of you and I doing this podcast from self, like we're really here with our whole internal family. So internal family is, I want to call it, to me, it's more than a model, but to me, it's a paradigm. It's a way of seeing the world, a way of seeing ourselves as a human from this, like, from this multiplicity. And there's an internal structure, just like there's structure out in the world. And so this guy that developed it was doing external family, right? And families are structures. And he was like, we seem to have this internal one. And there's parts, and there's really wounded parts. And then there's also this sacred, holy center, which I have been calling the God inside you, not the God of religion, not the God outside of you, but the I amness that I call the sacred self.
Ooh, I love that.
I know, right? So it's all so fucking perfect. And
well, I know it's funny. I was thinking there's so many things. I think of it at not, he talks about constellation. I've been starting to think about it like the universe, right? Because we've got these galaxies, because parts can have parts. And one of the things I said maybe a year ago before any of this came into my life was like, you are the universe, you're whole and complete, and you're expanding. And now I'm just recognizing the layers of truth of that.
What happens in your body when you feel a new layer of truth?
Oh, I mean, like right now I'm hot as hell. I mean, I'm just sweating. I'm like sweating. You can see my face is red. It's also just got warm in here, but like it's hot, but it's also like, it just feels right. And, it just, everything clicks into place when I think of the constellation and that center being yourself. And I have not had a particularly strong relationship with spirituality, but this level of spirit, that essence, that fact that we all have a self that is undamageable, that really lands for me.
Yeah, and it's not outside of us. And what the other thing I really love about it, and I have a couple of, I'm like you, we're both researchers, right? Like we're both big credit givers. We've talked about that. Like, I can't stand in the coaching world where everybody takes credit. And I'm like writing a bibliography at the back of every conversation I have. But Matt Kahn is a spiritual teacher. And he's actually on the woo-woo end, but he's a spiritual teacher who never pushes away uncomfortable feeling. And so like I got immersed into him a couple years ago. No matter what you feel, you deserve more love, not less. You did nothing wrong. And these phrases just went through my whole body as like, not just an intellectual truth, but they dropped below my head into my body. And something inside said, this is God. This is, and I don't even like to use that word, but like, this is, and then I had a near-death experience. Well, not near-death. I had a death experience with my dog, and my dog went through me during the death. It's a whole nother podcast, but he went through me very clearly in an L shape. It's a totally long story, but I'm in this distress. And then for this L shape millisecond, I felt what people who've had near death describe. I felt infinite love and connection. And then it was gone. And so that's the same feeling I get. Now, here's the other fun part. Self is not separate from the parts. Like self doesn't want any of these parts to go away. They're all welcome. And this is a cheesy little memory that shows my, not bias, but my conditioning. Like there's the pictures of Jesus and he says, come little children and be with me. Like the loving part of Jesus instead of the critical. And I feel like self energy just says, hello, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. Let's be together.
It's inclusion, right?
It is the epitome of inclusion.
I'm a huge proponent of inclusion. And when I started realizing, oh my gosh, we can't do this external inclusion thing until we recognize that there's a need for internal inclusion. And that's exactly what self is doing.
How can we include anybody until we include the parts of us?
Right, because the stuff that we're exiling or judging or whatever about everybody else is the stuff that we're exiling and judging about ourselves.
One of the things that got me into this, I have two distinct parts. Well, they're probably sections of parts. Actually, part inner exile. But I have, and I have actually not shared this on social media, despite how much I share. I've drawn a picture of her. But I have a fuck you part, and she's a teenager, and she's very fierce and protective, and she like posts fuck you to all the politicians on Twitter. And
Love
she's physically violent. She carries a knife. She's so protective, like she's calm and quiet, like a Secret Service person. But then she will slit your throat if she needs to. And obviously, the last 5 years, especially up through 2020, she's really likes being friends with me now. But she was so present, and I didn't know what to do with her because I'm actually, I mean, everybody thinks I'm a big rebel. I just live on the edges, but I'm not really a rule breaker. But I felt so uncomfortable being so angry and so fucking pissed off that I could fucking kill you. And then, but what she's protecting is the little itty bitty one in me that is so afraid of being left and rejected and unloved and doing it wrong. Yeah. So can you think of a primary protector that shows it, like that brought you to this work? I mean, there's something that has us go, I need a little bit more than a coach.
Oh, I've got so many. I mean, when you talk about anger, that is definitely one for me. And I've been suppressing anger for, I'm 37 years of my life. And that's because of the destruction I saw my dad create through his anger. And so it's really hard for me, especially in the political climate, to balance this sense of like, no, I want to and need to be angry. And this anger is dangerous thing because when you describe your little protector, I think of that's exactly my anger can slice somebody's head off with words. And it's protecting me from destroying my relationships, my closest relationships. So I'm not necessarily worried about the abandonment. I'm worried about causing others to leave.
And what does it mean if you cause others to leave?
Oh, it means I'm a terrible person and I'm going to be alone. Like, I think, everything comes back to that, right? And so I was even just on a call with my therapist right before you said, let's get on. And something that you and I had in a conversation a couple of weeks ago was about, I have these two parts, one that really, really wants to do all this alone and one that's feeling really fucking alone right now. And so we dove into that part, and it turns out it is protecting an exile that goes back, way, way back to being loved and seen and protected. And so there's a lot more to dive into next time with my therapist around this particular exile and what it needs in order to unburden
those polarities. I mean, a couple of years ago, I did a whole event on both and woman of range and just,
my first podcast was called Life in the And because it was all about.
No, maybe you've told me that. And
yeah, it was
perfect to bring it up here.
Right. Because that was the beginning of this idea, right? We're all these ands and they're often polarized and paradoxical and all of that. And that's my fascination. So the both and is exactly this, right?
Yeah, it is. It's like becoming a person of range. And I have a saying, the more I meet myself, the less I want to punch other people in the face. The more I'm inclusive myself, the easier it is to be inclusive, right? And I also have a little part of me, so I think this is interesting, right? Especially the last 5 years, mostly, definitely up in the 90-something%, I am physically safe in the status quo. But you are not.
No.
And marginalized people are not. And underrepresented people are not, who've had to hide who they are at the core of their being. There are still people out there that make that wrong. And there's a little one in me. And she's connected to self too, but she's like, I don't know, someone sometime told me that my name Allison meant justice, and it really doesn't. I think it means truth, noble truth. But for a long time, I know, right? For a long time, I was like, that's why, like as a little kid, I didn't understand why I felt this sense of justice. And there's a part of me that not only wants to protect little Allison, but that little Allison was so she came into the world walking, talking, being with spirit. I think all of us do. And then life just starts beating the shit out of us and subtly molding and, from all directions. And so track with me here. This actually came up on a coaching call today. It was really cool. I had a client who shared that they had a selfish part. And this was a group session. And I picked on them and I was like, tell me a little bit about the selfish part. And this person was like, I'm brokenhearted about the world. And the primary thing I'm thinking of is titling my podcast. And now I see that titling the podcast and moving forward it is this person's way to contribute to the broken-hearted world.
Yes, absolutely.
Like that creative part. And someone told us, we actually had this common, you may be a little young for it. Do you remember Feed the World, or at least Feed the World? And all these rock stars got together, Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah. I'm not too young for that.
Okay, Farm Aid.
Yeah. Wasn't that when Michael Jackson, we are the world?
Yeah.
We are the children.
There's Farm Aid and then there's this one. But yes, there was one Feed the World came up at Christmas. And then the other thing our parents would say to us is eat your lima beans. There are starving kids in Ethiopia.
Yep. It was China when I was young.
Okay.
The country's changed.
Okay, so what I love about this is it was like everybody, no matter the age in my group today, just nodded their head someone didn't give you permissions to have a preference for or against lima beans as a child who didn't get it. And so as a child who's faced with this plate full of food, someone tells us that our preference isn't valid and we need to be concerned with the kids in Ethiopia. And there's so much mess in between.
If that is not a commentary, right, of all of the ways we self-deny.
And we're taught to. I know people mean well.
Oh, absolutely.
And yet I noticed the parts of me that would get really angry is because I wasn't meeting parts. I wasn't listening to them. That's another aspect that we talk about a lot. I'm not necessarily hearing this in my training. I mean, I hear the process of it, but my in the coaching world, we're taught mindset changes everything. Change your thinking, change your life.
Yeah. I can't handle that phrase anymore. I just
I'm hitting my face. It hurts so bad.
I know. And my parts get all flared up when I go against that grain.
Yeah. Tell me more.
Share man. There's a few things that just flared up for me. And I was describing somebody who is a big coach in our world, and that deep coaching goes here up. And feeling like, I'm being critical of this person. Don't be critical. But then there's also this place of who are you to go deeper into the somatic nervous system side of things? Who are you to do this IFS stuff when that's the therapy world? And who are you to go stand out and say coaches are doing it wrong? And there's that part of me that grew up alone. I'm an only child, and my parents worked a lot, and God bless them. They, that there was no intentional me being alone, but I was, when you're an only kid, there's no one to play with. And then I was different growing up. And so I was alone. And so being that person who stands out is constantly a challenge for me. And so for me to be sitting here being coaching world, there's more to it than this. And we got to be learning from the therapy world. It just, all those you're about to be abandoned, you're about to be rejected, you're about to be exiled comes way up for me. And I see your face right now. So I'm I think Allison's probably experiencing this too.
No, I'm sweating, about to take off all my clothes. That's probably why I'm drinking on this podcast.
Well, and then I see my therapist and I'm she's so, both the therapists I work with, I have a couples therapist and a personal therapist. They're both please push the boundaries, do this. They're very supportive.
Yes.
But I do have these moments, and I do want to be very ethical about how I go about doing my work. I do have these moments where I'm like, God, am I just like a fake therapist? That's my part.
Let me plant a flag because I want to get there and talk about how we as coaches are using this differently than therapy.
Yes, absolutely. I know we are
different. Yes,
me too.
And I see a place for us.
Absolutely.
All my parts have been. My therapist is also a coach, and I also have I do this square head, this knowledge that therapists are trained differently and regulated differently than coaches. And I understand that coaching has regulation, and I have not particularly been certified, and it's never been a problem for me. And I know that I am ethical.
Yes. And I love your ethical uncertified phrase. That's exactly me.
I'm ethically uncertified. And I know that I push the edges of, like, one of the things that I do that is probably totally not okay in therapy or coaching is I share behind the scenes with my clients. And I share that, like, in my behind the scenes, these are some of the things that I'm struggling with and grappling with. And I don't ask my clients for the support, but I'm just transparent about the parts, and that I cried in my pillow 4 times this week. And here's what I'm doing to meet it. Because No one ever told me in leadership, here's the standard. And they never talked about what happens if I have a meltdown. Do my clients, and I know there's people that are like, I would never share with my clients that I had a meltdown. And every single time for the last 15 years that I have shared a piece of that transparency, someone, if not multiple people, have said, this keeps me going. I'm normal. Thank you.
Same thing I worked with Christina Berkeley for 2.5 years because she was transparent with me about everything that was happening, and it helped me feel more connected. So one of the things I've really been thinking about as my own leadership is the people who pretend that they've got it all figured out, or maybe they're not pretending, but they're just not sharing it. I'm disconnected from them because I don't see myself in them. Right. And so I'm like you, Allison, with my clients, like I may not be quite as transparent as you, because I don't know the last time I told someone I cried for 4 hours or 4 times into a pillow, but I definitely am sharing with them on a regular basis. Here's what I'm working on, and here's how I'm thinking about it, and here's how I do things, because they're not going to show up as all of them in their beautiful mess if they think they're standing with someone who's perfect.
It's another version of representation.
Right.
If there's no messy leadership that's succeeding and making it work, then there's no potential that I could be a leader or that I could be successful. And, I don't even want to call it this mess now, right? Like, because if I just see perfection,
the gap is too wide. The gap is too wide for me to fill. That's exactly. And so that post that you read before we got on today was all inspired by this idea of, like, so many people think they're too messy to lead. They think they're too in their own process to be, coaching or serving or, even therapists, right, with others. And that's exactly the people that the world needs. Because
they need us. They need you and me.
If you are a messy leader and you're doing it and you're helping me see how you're doing it, I can do it too.
That's the whole point. Like, nobody taught us how to. Nobody taught us how to feel uncomfortable feelings. They just told us to shove it away. And now that's ending up in, like, when I say generation, I mean like our 50, 60 years of people that are in this bridge of, we're not in the transformation. We're in the breakdown before the transformation. Can't remember which colleague to give that credit to. And I was like, oh, fuck me. Because wouldn't it be fun to be in the revolution?
Oh,
We're actually in the wars before the revolution.
Yeah. I remember when a good friend of mine who's a shaman and really connected to the spirit world said Trump needed to happen in order for this next level of consciousness. And I was like, well, fuck, why do I have to live through this part? Right? Oh, what's next?
Right. But then aren't you, I think you're probably like me. Do you have any Scorpio in you? I'm not a super astrology person, but
I might have some Scorpio. I am so resistant to all things personality test.
I love you for that.
Right. I'm resistant to all things spiritual, except for some reason I have a fondness for the Enneagram.
I know.
And there's a part of me that beats myself up because I'm supposed to be 100% against all of these classifications. But for some reason,
like that was
Enneagram works for me.
That was one of my big things with my amazing coach therapist. And I'm aware that she's an Enneagram 3. And so I'm having this interpreting part that's like, oh, she's making this general recommendation that I get certified. And I finally did clarify and I was like, was it something I said or is this? And she's like, actually, when I see people are interested in IFS, because I'm behind the scenes, I'm always recommending them. When she said the word oversight, I did not even come close to shitting my pants. My heart, that's the nice word. Like
parts emergency. Here's
the thing. Saying shitting my pants dishonors the fear and trembling I felt in my heart. And she did not cause the fear and trembling.
No.
But I recognized, and we had this boxer interaction. I haven't asked for permission to share this, but I'm the client. I can share it. I just decided. But I had this parts emergency, and and that was the thing. I just let myself feel like I want her to like me. My adult knows that, but the little girl in is like, I want her to think I'm good at this, and she does. She had in the same conversation. She was like, I've never seen somebody take to IFS so naturally and quickly. And so that felt really validated. And the same little girl that wanted and craved that validation was like, oh, but you think I'm doing it wrong. And that after 15 and a half years, and she didn't. But so it's like, I look forward to our next conversation because we're going to talk about the parts of me that oversight. I was abused by oversight and abused by the system. Right? Like, how do your parts feel about the fucking system?
Not so good, obviously.
I know. I just have so much compassion for him, though.
I do too. And I so have compassion for your part to flare up with this certification stuff and you need the piece of paper saying that you're good enough.
I'm curious when especially your little, I call my exiles are my really littles.
They're really little.
Yeah. And I used to keep a picture of third grade Allison with her long, curly, fuzzy hair on my computer. I need to find it.
I keep this one. This is me.
Oh my goodness.
Right. This is little me from, I think I might've been 3.
Little E.
And it's a little feminine for me, but like, she's pretty cute. Like you just can't.
Let me see her. I think she might be a little Andrew. She's got a little tie on.
A little girly tie, but yeah, she's cute. And I sat her next to my desk for the same reason of I can't look at that human.
How old was she?
See anything? I think she's 3 there.
If you tap into her, and you can say, I don't want to go here.
I'm open.
Did she feel too girly at that age? Like, did she feel like things like that or did she like that little tie? Yeah. Okay.
Oh no, she felt too girly. When I was really able to start processing, and I don't know what age it was, maybe 5, there was that, like, I think I was supposed to be a boy, but I don't really want to be a boy. And sort of, I don't know what that means. But one thing that my parents were wonderful about is they never tamped down the masculine in me. I had a basketball in my hand from the minute I could have one in my hand. I was wearing basketball shorts and jerseys and playing with the boys. And I know behind the scenes, at least, my dad was worried I might turn out gay, which, spoiler alert, very.
Right.
But
he wasn't worried that you're gay. I can't.
He was worried about the societal stuff.
Yeah,
both
exactly.
My parents, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, they never did anything to quell the gender stuff. It was not until middle school when people started bullying me when I was like, well, there's clearly something wrong with me. And I tried real hard to be a girl for a long time. A long time. So
right, those parts that were like, damn it, we're going to be a girl.
Damn it, we're going to fit in. We're going to fit in, come hell or high water. We're going to find a way to like boys. We're going to try to not be a boy.
Isn't that crazy? Like, you don't even have to be non-binary is the intense version of it. And my parts feel so much compassion and like want to hold your parts because I still feel, even this week twice, by both my therapist and my coach, they were like, you're a unicorn. And of course, here's the thing. I don't resonate with a unicorn because they're so fucking overused.
They are.
And so I'm like, no, that's too commercial for me. I'm like, I'm just weird.
Yeah. I think you need to take out your paints and you need to draw your spirit, whatever unicorn, not unicorn, but animal. Maybe it's not even an animal.
I mean, that's the thing. She's so morphy. It's like Wonder Twins power of, right? And that's what's so amazing about her is that I really am adaptable, right? Like, oh my God, thank God for childhood trauma because how fucking amazing are we?
Right? Right? I mean, it's so true. I mean,
and that leads me to Erin, how we use IFS in coaching. And by the way, the little rule follower in me wants the whole world to know that both Erin and I, who are in trainings, we have not been able to get into the certification yet, but in our trainings, they say, go ahead and use this with your clients now to the level that you feel comfortable. So neither one of us are violating any protocol. For the record, let me just share that.
Thank you to your rule abiding part for being so protective of both of us right now.
I mean, I told my gal, I was like, this was, I don't know, 4 or 5 sessions ago. I was like, I know how some therapists feel about coaches because we're out here raking in the fucking box, doing deep inner work.
Yeah.
And she was like, and I was like, I'm a little nervous about being like, you're doing it wrong by the therapist. And she goes, oh, you will be. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, you're doing it wrong. And there's some place where I've noticed, I mean, yes, there's places where we could really dive into some deep trauma and do harm if we're not careful.
Sure, absolutely.
But as long as we're in self, and I know we didn't define self, but that's, curiosity, compassion, calm, clarity, courage, confidence. I'm probably missing connectedness. There's 8 of them. I'm missing one right now.
Passion.
But did I say compassion? I said compassion. Maybe not.
Courage, creativity, confidence, connected, compassion, curiosity, calmness.
Curiosity is the big one, right? So curiosity is my number one self quality that I try to be in when I'm with my clients. And as long as I'm in curiosity and not with an agenda, not trying anything, just trying to explore, I don't believe I can go wrong until I hit a place where it's like, we're going to deal with a trauma that I don't know that I should be dealing with. And then I will say, you know what, this probably is outside of my expertise. Here, let's refer you out to somebody. But I've not gotten there yet.
Even if it comes up, if you can be in calm, curious, compassion, and connected, then you can confidently say, I see you. So take not on. Oh. Yeah. I cannot find the quote. And so it's like, did I make up that he said this, but I give him the reference. So it's there. It was, I thought it was Taming the Tiger Within, and I went through the whole book and could not find it. But I thought he said, their anger, I see you. I will not leave you. I'm here for you. And if that ain't fucking self, I don't know what is. And so I've been using that as an internal mantra, and I'm doing it with my clients. It's like, oh, their selfishness. I see you. And I combine it with a hopahona, I don't know how to say that. Yeah. I'm here for you. I love you. Please forgive me. I'm not leaving you. Let's just be here together. No coaching.
Yeah.
No praying you away. No trying to transform you and coach you. Let's just be here together. Like you and me have done with each other. Like, I just want to be in the room with you.
Yeah.
Nothing you can bring up is wrong. And it's so...
And that's powerful, right? Because so many of our parts just need to be acknowledged and seen. And as soon as they are, you can just feel them settle.
So I'm finding this is part of the difference of coaching. And as I listen to some of these therapists therapists are working with people who often, not always, don't have a background in personal development.
Right.
So our people, our clients, the people that are aligned with working with us tend to have a lot of the heavy lifting of awareness and insight and taking responsibility. They may be acting in parts or thinking in parts, but they've done a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
And therapists are dealing with acute trauma displaying in a lot of ways. And I feel like we as coaches and in our personal stuff, we're dealing with deeply embedded trauma that is manifesting as a protector. So the exile is being protected by managers. But most of my clients, so there's a distinction, there is a kind of, let me get out my notes because I want to get this right until I have it memorized. Protectors can be either proactive managers or reactive firefighters. And I feel like therapists are dealing with both managers and firefighters, but a lot of people seek therapy because of firefighter stuff.
Yes.
And firefighters is like they deploy, I'm just going to read from my notes. They don't care about the consequences. I think that's a good identifier.
No, it's like these are and some of the examples of firefighters, right? Alcohol use, binge eating, destructive behavior. Those are like an exile's coming out. We gotta like, right?
Yeah. They're like, they're literally putting out a fire, but their mode is never again will I allow our system to feel this way. Protectors are really fucking intelligent.
Yes.
Firefighters are like really big and dramatic to distract you.
Yep.
And in coaching, what everybody calls stuck or a limiting belief, procrastination, not good enough.
That's a manager.
I'm not an expert yet. That's a manager.
Well, not good enough as an exile, but yes, the rest are managers. And you're right that I think, we talk about big T and little t trauma, like the little t traumas are really, really embedded. I also think as coaches, at least in my coaching work, we're dealing with, so Dick Schwartz talks about like, we have protectors that come online based on our childhood experience, right? But we also have them based on what society does, the culture. We have inherited intergenerational managers that are protecting us. And so a lot of times I feel like I'm also dealing with protectors that have come online because like hyper productivity, that's also a cultural manager. And so we're unwinding, where did these come from? Is this something that happened to you in direct experience, or is this messaging that we need to rewire? And so there's a place where that's less in my therapy world. When I'm going to my therapist, I'm dealing with the childhood, what happened to me, when I was little, or anxiety, or, other things there. But when I'm in coaching world, it's all about these broader contexts that are bringing managers into our system.
And the managers like to run the show. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
Analogy, there's a couple analogies I use, but the easiest is who's driving the bus. And most of us, without realizing this, no matter how fucking spiritual we are or whatever, dude, our protectors are driving the bus. Our managers are driving the bus. And so if somebody is like dealing with acute alcoholism or an eating disorder, and they're in the throes of a binge cycle,
right?
I can have a client who has an eating disorder and I can work with her protectors. But what I love is that she has a therapist who is really helping her. And here's the other thing. I don't mind if the deep stuff comes up. I actually personally feel capable of holding space and not trying to fix and holding her hand until we can get her with the person who's better at that. But like you, so in coaching, and I highly recommend everybody have a coach and everybody have a therapist.
I think they're a great one to punch. No pun. Oh, maybe pun intended. Right?
Well, if coaching, because deep transformational coaching does involve some healing. And so it does.
Absolutely.
There's this gray area where it covers. And that's what the part of me is like, I'm doing it wrong. I'm only supposed to be saying accountability, accountability, accountability. And my soul knows, fuck that shit.
None
my
of that.
Soul knows. Yeah. Go ahead.
As I say, that's just band-aiding, right? If you're just trying to force new behavior without changing the underlying system, you know, that's like you trying to replant a tree without taking up the root system and also tending to the root system and where it needs to grow.
So much of coaching only treats the symptom, not the root. Yeah. And I do think one of the things I've noticed in working with myself and working with my clients, that because of our history of being in, I'm not working with newbies in the coaching world. That's it. I can't be accessible to everybody. So I use there's this part of me that like wants to say, not everybody can afford me, but I use my income from coaching to be generous in donations. That is just a whole nother story. And I tend to work with people who've been immersed in this for a while. And so I find that they really pick it up easily. And they're like, oh my God, this makes sense. They're like, the new IFS circle is coming out. And I told them about it today. Like my scared parts are like, I want you to learn everything through me. But myself is like, no, like the new IFS
I'm like,
circle.
Where do I sign up? Because I need that.
I just joined the IFS circle because I just joined the continuity program today.
Okay. I'm in it.
You can't be in the continuity program.
No, the circle. I'll go be in the IFS circle.
Go be in the circle.
I'm behind you by like 3 months.
Just 3 months. But like that's the thing. You have to have completed the circles.
Yeah.
But what I love is there is training and there is witnessing and listening. And then you and I are both doing our individual work. And those are the reasons I feel comfortable for us bringing this with full knowledge. Listen, I'm a lay person in this who fully plans on getting certified because I've never had certification. What certification does is not the validity, the full experience.
I want the full experience. It's the mastery for me. I am motivated by the mastery of getting to level 3. It reminds me, I've been saying this for a long time. When I had a basketball in my hand when I was 3 years old, for most of my childhood, that's all I ever wanted to do. And I wanted to be like Michael Jordan. I would have watched every Michael Jordan thing out there. I would just go out and play basketball all the time. And like, I haven't in my life until IFS had something that I was so interested in mastering just for the sake of mastering. The rest of my life was mastering to prove something. Now it's not mastering. I don't care. Like I could probably do pretty well as a coach with my current level of knowledge. I'd get a little bit better. It's fine. I want the full on IFS experience because I believe it's not just going to change people. It is going to change the world. And I love how Dick Schwartz talks about how it can change communities and society when we do this work, right? It's already there. And I'm like, how do I sign up to be part of that wave? Because my mission is to make a more authentic, inclusive, and equitable world. So that's the individual, community, and society level. IFS explains it all.
I know, right?
This is how we get to all 3. Not that I'm only a coach from IFS. Like I notice when I work with my one-on-one clients, it's useful when it's useful. But wow. But
having that, I call it my Mary Poppins bag. Of soul medicine. And I told my coaches, the clients the other day, so you know that I have a history in business coaching, which I'm working to leave. But I enjoy it's just sexy to me to talk about business stuff. And so I told my clients the other day, I was like, I'm just going to tell you what to fucking do, and then we're going to deal with parts. I'm going to tell you to go do the thing, and then we do. And so this is a mantra. I have not heard this, but in my coaching world, I was like, take the action, soothe parts. Don't soothe parts until you're ready to take action. Take the action. Know that parts are going to be activated. Bring your parts.
Love it.
I know. Isn't that fucking brilliant, Erin?
Oh, that's so much better than I've been really thinking about all the mantras in the coaching industry and the ones that kind of irk me at this point and feel the fear and do it anyway. I love that because now it's do it anyway and then calm the parts that come out
But I think that's another distinction between coaching, because that might not be safe for somebody in the therapy world, but it is safe for our clients. It is safe for our clients to put an offer out there. It is safe for our clients to have uncomfortable conversations. It is not physically harming.
Well, and it's also good to notice that, though, because my therapist pointed out to me that when I did a 90-day live challenge, I was actually overriding a physical nervous system trauma response. And I had no idea, because I just thought I needed to move through that. I'm a type of person that's like, well, I'm afraid, I'm going to go for it. And at the time, I wanted to please my coach who had given me the challenge. And she said, no, whatever your head is saying about this isn't a big deal. Your body was unsafe.
Okay, this is a whole nother aspect.
Right. So she made the distinction between uncomfortable and unsafe. And so we need to help our clients move into the fear when it's uncomfortable. And we won't know always when it's unsafe, but we need to allow them to pull back when they recognize they've hit a place of non-safety.
The number one place I feel after 15.5, I will be 16 in February. So August was 15.5. Tomorrow is my 18 full year of self-employment, which came out of it. I know.
So your self-employment can vote. That's great. Go vote to undo Texas stuff.
I'm working on it. We'll talk about some parts. So, somatic internal family systems, like the part that I did not get was from the neck down. And so I am a baby and I'm a kindergartner. I'm a newbie wanting to learn about this and dropping into the embodiment of all this work that we talk about, because I think you, like me, and like we talked about fellow coaches, now I'm officially got the Weinbergs, is this head up. And head up is sexy for me. But now I'm realizing, like, what does it mean to be in my body with this stuff?
Yes. And I feel so lucky that my first experience in any coaching training was with someone who does embodiment work. It was a version of NLP, which I'm not a huge NLP fan, but he really took us out of the head into the body. And I remember at the time being like, this bullshit. And now I'm so grateful. Right? And I am so grateful that I learned that stuff, because it opened me up to something that I didn't even know was going to come more and more. And the somatic stuff it's just, I can't put my head around it because it's not a heady thing, but I have been in a full body transformation from embodied work and release.
I feel like it's a thing that from kindergarten, like, you know how we learn reading, writing, and arithmetic and history. Yeah. I feel like we need nervous systems embodiment practices
absolutely
from kindergarten all the way through. And it's like, oh yeah, in 5th grade science and in 10th grade science, and once in college, they talked about the nervous system. And now, so get this, I'm going to contradict Steve Hardison.
Oh, this is,
now,
I'm ready for this.
I adore Steve.
Sure.
And I actually shared this today on a group, and I have a client who, one of Steve Hardison's clients is one of my colleagues and friends. And then I actually have a client who's in my group now that we were in this. We're just, we all know my state of being is primary. And I love that, because I have been a big state of being client coach for many years. It's one of the reasons I left and started my own, because I was like, dude, your state of being creates your productivity, not your number of calls. My hypothesis, I'm curious to test this out with you, but I also know you'll agree with me. So I'm cheating.
Now I'm like, all my parts like, okay, find the disagreement.
My nervous system is primary.
Yes. Yeah.
My state of being can only genuinely be created when my nervous system feels safe.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I haven't been taught regulation.
And I will say, I'm going to contradict some of the bigger people out there right now, too. We've got the Michael Neals of the world, the Byron Katie's of the world, right? Where I think some of the stuff they do is really profound, where we talk about we're, lost in the feelings of our thought. And the work is all about who would you be without that thought? But it stays at this level of our thoughts are the problem.
And those people are cis white people too.
They are.
So it's really easy when you're a cis white person, and I'm a cis white person. It's really easy to go, oh, your thinking can change your life because your nervous system is safe.
And there are times when it is actually really useful. So when I'm in an anxious spiral, I have learned not to believe my thoughts. Right. And so knowing that my thoughts are creating my reality is really important. Mm-hmm. But I can't just say I not believe my thoughts and not attend to the fact that my body is in an anxious spiral. So I feel like what they're doing is important work.
Yes.
It's almost like there's a Maslow's hierarchy for me. And it's like, it's the body is at the bottom, and then we go up and we finally get to thought. And then behavior is at the tip.
Like, yes, your state of being is almost primary, but your nervous system is more primarier. And then your state of being.
Well, and your nervous system can create your state of being, right? So if we can get ourselves back into self, which our nervous system is calm and clear, then that is our state of being.
Let's call it, I just heard, I haven't shared it with you. I don't know if you saw it, but just this week, Terry Herbine Blank, I think that's who did it. I don't have that name. She's one of the main 3 people in the IFS circle. She's a super senior trainer. But I saw her there's a podcast called IFS Talks. And she did a podcast called Weaponizing Self. And then she gives full credit to the gal that came up with this term, weaponizing self. Mm-hmm. And so weaponizing self, where she's going in this podcast is talking about self as a continuum, and this idea that we need to be 100% in self. She does not say the word bullshit, but is bullshit. And
that's what my therapist said to me last week. And I went, oh, I can be 5% in self?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes. Like, I want to scream that to the mountaintops, because we're not trying to re-exile parts. We just want to be self-led.
Yes.
And self without parts is going to sit on the couch and meditate into nothingness. Like, self without parts can die a human death.
That is so true. The self requires the parts.
We need parts. So I had a part this morning that was like, Allison, take the dog on the long walk, take your vitamins, and do your boring daily practices. That was not self. Self doesn't have any forward direction. Right. Self is actually loving what is. Right? Like, so yes, Byron Katie fucking changed my life. I'm not afraid to say it. I have other issues. And self helped me regulate, parts helped me regulate my nervous system today.
Absolutely.
Through behavior.
Yeah.
And so this idea of being in self is like, I need to learn. I want to learn. I crave to learn being self-led.
Yes, me too.
Which means no part loses their job, and parts are assigned the beneficial to our system job. Because I have a personal thing with emotions are negative. And that's like in scientific literature, and I need them to change it to all emotions.
Actually, it's not. So there's some scientific literature, but there's a whole lot, PhD coming out here.
Thank you, please, bring it.
That actually,
your drink, so I feel equal.
Yeah. So emotional suppression. I'm going to drink. There you go. So emotional suppression is that actually,
Sprite, or is that a beer?
No, it's called Thick Haze IPA.
Okay, thank you.
No. I had a LaCroix earlier, and my wife was like, "You're not taking a beer to your therapy session, right?" And I'm like, "No, of course not." So emotional suppression, all parts are welcome, but emotional suppression is basically bad for our systems. And I'm going to botch the science here because I don't know all of the specifics, but basically what it does is it puts all kinds of pressure. And so emotional suppression has been linked to all kinds of inflammatory reactions in our system. And so there is a whole literature on when
you call something negative or bad,
right?
That subconsciously creates a suppression.
Right.
Or
I love what you said in your live today, because I watched it, because I'm a stalker. It's not suppressing the emotions. It's what behavior results from the emotions. We can feel all of our feelings, and I love my word and we can choose how we behave or how we react to those emotions, how we move forward. And so it's really important to our nervous system. So many of us are bottling them up. And so for me, anger was one for such a long time. And then the time it would come out, it would be explosive. Awesome. And then I'd have this shame spiral around it because I can be loud when I'm angry. And so now allowing myself to feel it means that it doesn't get explosive. And now I know how to channel it.
Yeah, you know how to practice anger.
And go be angry, or go be angry outside, right? Go for a walk and like scream the screams I need to scream, and then come back to my wife and have a calm conversation.
Yes. So it's not just feeling it, but it's actually how do we express something in a way that is, and I call it helpful and unhelpful. So obviously it's unhelpful to murder somebody or actually slice their throat, but I can feel the slice their throat emotions, not just in my head. So I will say I'm like 80% in my head, but that's why crying in my pillow for myself was so important, because crying in my pillow, I can manage that in my head, but crying into my pillow allowed me to embody the sadness.
Yes. Yeah.
Crying into Voxer for my coach allowed me to embody and be witnessed in my sadness. And what I love that my coach did, she didn't try to fix me. She just said, "This is so weird to be an outlier." And I feel
And I've had the same thing with anger. I was at an event with this first coach of mine, and he took on the role of my father with something that was really, really angry. And then he asked me to smack a chair with a towel, and I would not do it. And he kept at me. And I was just more and more angry. And then I just smacked the chair a little bit. And my God, like something that was so stuck in me for 25 years, gone.
And I personally believe like the cells in your body heal, not just your mind and your spirit, but
absolutely.
Like your physical body heals, being able to do that. I have a former client. I actually did a podcast with her. And I can't remember the actual name of the process that she was trained in. And she got into the fucking IFS training. So jealous. But she does emotional.
We'll get there by like 2030. I promise. By 2030, we'll get there.
In the right time. Do you realize we're like competing with 10,000 people in a random?
I do.
Oh, and it's fine. It's fine. Okay. So she does emotional processing work in one of her practices, and she has a 13-year-old boy. I guess he's probably 15 now since she's been my client. And I don't know why this feels important, but she has a 15-year-old Black son. She's white cis, he's Black. And this is what gives me hope for the world. She teaches him this practice. So every day, one of her practices, she gets all the pillows on her bed. And every day, whether or not she feels like it, she takes a baseball bat and beats the pillows on her bed. And she even, quote, fakes it until she makes it. Kristen Kozinski is her name. I also met her through the worlds. But she was taught how to physically and mentally and emotionally process uncomfortable emotions. And so she does it as a preemptive practice. And she's like, yeah, there's some days I totally feel like beating. And she has, like, her son has a baseball bat that is for the pillows. And she has a baseball bat that is for the pillows so that they get out. You know, you don't just mindset change your anger. You have a totally appropriate and safe place to channel not just the mental and emotional, but the physical energy that needs to go into it.
What occurs to me is it's self-care for our emotional system. And it's, you know, that self-care, I hate that word because it's so overused right now, but it's much more than
reclaim it, right?
Taking a bath, right?
Reclaim it, yeah.
But that is, in my mind, a deeply connective, loving our anger practice.
Right. And I know you and I have bonus kids, but I know you and I don't have littles.
No, I have a little dog somewhere around here, but that's about it.
I do too, but we're another kind of parent. Right. And that's the other thing. Like I've seen the pictures of traumatized dogs and they act really angry. And there's a at least 3 month, not to 3 year process of being with a traumatized dog, and they will open up.
Yeah. Yes.
It takes presence. It's not taking fixing. It's not training it out of them. And so often in the coaching world, we're trying to train something out of somebody when their nervous system just needs to decompress. But what I think I know that coaching does, as we bring this into coaching, just like my friend Kristen does with her son. She did not put her son in an emotional processing school. She modeled, son, let me tell you why I'm beating my pillows. Would you like to beat pillows with me?
Yes.
And so her 15-year-old Black son, who has every reason to move through the world scared, intimidated, unsafe, has something to do with those emotions, both physically and emotionally. That's a conversation they have in their worlds.
So
they're
beautiful.
meeting those, Teresa says, what is IFS? Internal family systems. And like you, I think we both have these parts that jump up and down and go, of all the things in my intellectual, spiritual, physical, emotional world that has made sense.
Yeah.
This is a giant key.
Oh, I felt reading No Bad Parts. I'm going to have to read it again because it was so transformative to be reading everything I thought, everything on my growth path. Going back to we were talking about God earlier, Christina and I, for 2.5 years, she kept saying, I'm not going to stop with you until you know you're God. And I read this book and I said, I know I'm God. And I know that this is a way for all of us to get to know, like, and trust ourselves so deeply that we can go do the things in this world that light up our souls. And that's a difference too, I think, between the coaching and therapy world. I'm not doing a lot of doing with my clients. Some of the coaches that I work with, we were talking about the business building and some of the other entrepreneurs I work with. But for the most part, I'm doing that being work because I trust that when they get to that alignment where their parts are working for them and they're self-led, they are going to do incredible things in the world.
Yeah, the doing comes from a place of fullness instead of a place of oppression and fear.
Yeah.
And so I know you said curiosity is one of the elements of self that you're really attracted to and engaged with.
Yeah.
For me, compassion and calm are really resonant at this moment because my nervous system is healing and they need compassion and calm. I had volatile. I had loving but volatile. Right? Like, so one minute it was loving and the next minute it was volatile. And a lot of coaching has been volatile. A lot of coaching has been volatile. Not to my intellectual parts, but to my nervous system. And what I love is like the way, I don't know if there's an order of them. I don't think there is. But what I've noticed is the bottom half are confidence, creativity, courage, and clarity. And so when we are self-centered, self is running the show. Self says, all right, creative, all right, bold, all right, confidence, all right, action taker, all right, nap taker. Like self is calling on these different parts of ourselves to use their gifts in those roles. And so it does not mean, because I notice a lot of overachievers and high performers have this, if I'm self-led, I'll just sit on the couch and watch Netflix. No.
Well,
you'll actually be in your best creating and doing that you've ever been in.
Well, and let's not forget, courage does not exist in an inactive state.
Right.
Courage requires taking some action. I actually have broken it down because I've been thinking a lot about this and I'm writing a book right now. And I think this journey, this adventure we have in entrepreneurship is through this land of possibility. And the 4 qualities that are absolutely necessary to get into motion in the adventure are curiosity, creativity, courage, and connection. And connection being self-connection. And then the other 4 actually come as a result of the action. You get more confident as you take more action. You get more clear as you take more action. You get more compassion as you connect not just with yourself, but with others. And so there's this place where I don't know if it's 4 and 4 exactly, but there's this place where it's like action is required. There's prerequisites, there's action, and then there's self that has to come from being in motion.
Take action, meet parts.
Take action, meet parts.
Right? Like we can sit around and go, oh, well, my parts get healed and then I'll do. But what I have found is that the doing activates parts. Yep. Like, so this stuff with my coach and my therapist right now, there's a part of me that's like, oh, don't upset the apple cart. But there's a part of me that's so grateful that like we're having this back and forth and that it's not comfortable and that I'm making up stories about how she's being. And I'm like, this is why I hired her. Right? I didn't hire her to avoid the part of me that needs acceptance. The activating of the part that needs acceptance is the process of healing it. And by staying engaged, I may stay activated. But that part can't heal unless she's activated.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, she just stays exiled. And so I just say, I'm not even trying to fix her. Like today, I just wrote down, what did you want to tell me? What did you want to tell me? I'm here. I'm teaching my clients, listening to your parts does not mean believing them.
Absolutely. That's very powerful.
Because so many of us were taught, if you think it, you'll believe it. Oh, fuck you. Just allow, like, they just want to be witnessed. Mm-hmm. They just want to share their story. It doesn't matter if their story is true or not. It's true to them.
Absolutely.
Just listen. Notice when like my eyeballs do this thing.
Well, and as you say that too, I just think of so many times I've heard people say to themselves, to an inner critic, for instance, like, you just need to shut the fuck up. Right. And it's like, that inner critic ain't gonna shut the fuck up. Like, you actually need it to say its thing. And some of these parts are good compasses for the direction you want to go. When they speak up and they get loud, it's an indication of something, right? Like if you're going through life and your parts aren't activated, are you really doing anything that is exciting you?
Well, a lot of times they're actually right.
And so, yeah, well, they're not. Yeah.
Like my parts today told me, let's just open up my parts journal. Part that shrivels at criticism. Ooh. Part that melts under being misunderstood. Part that wants to coach myself through all those things. Part that feels like she doesn't fit in. Lonely, rejected, abandoned, not good enough, going to hell. That's a whole nother one. I'm about to write that portion in my book. Left Behind. Who the fuck shows a third grader that movie? Terror. Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me I'm wrong. Don't tell me I'm bad or evil or I'm going to hell. Not able to be uncomfortable. And then, sorry, Dad, if you ever listen to this, but like it all comes from when my dad would leave the house and my mom would stand at the door with all 5 kids going, don't leave. And all of us 5 kids were going, don't leave. And my dad was just, now what I know is my dad was like leaving to give himself space so that he wouldn't be violent. But 3-year-old Allison didn't know that. Right. But what's, that tender part doesn't want to be fixed yet. She just wants to be heard.
Right.
And I've been trained to not believe her. Instead of just saying, tell me what you need to tell me. I'm here to listen. She's not wrong. People leave. She's not wrong. People criticize.
Well, that's the thing. Parts don't come into our world unless there is an ounce of truth. Just like, unfortunately, stereotypes are usually, they get skewed, but an ounce of truth, right? And that's the thing about parts is if we demonize them as they're protecting and they're wrong, then we're actually just trying to exile them. Yes. So we've got to understand on the spectrum, what is true?
Right? Like being non-binary, it's not safe to be you in the world.
Right.
It's not. And it is. Like totally. It is with some people, but it's also not physically safe to walk down 6th Street in Austin. It's a roulette game.
I know when I need to be vigilant, right? I know that I can walk down a street in San Francisco and have a very relatively safe experience. I also know when I drive up to my parents' house in northern Michigan, if my wife and I stop at a gas station and I'm wearing a mask, I look very male and I am potentially at risk. And so that's when my vigilant part can say, Meryl, can you walk into the bathroom with me? Now,
yes.
Is it overreaction? Maybe. But in that particular case, overreaction is much safer than underreaction.
It's warranted, right? It's warranted. And so what I love, I like that word dysregulation versus regulation. And I know this has to do with the nervous system, but part of what we're doing is teaching ourselves. So I use this when people say, don't be afraid of COVID. Fuck you, folks. COVID just killed somebody I know and love yesterday at 11 p.m. That was vaccinated.
Fuck.
I'm not super close to them, but you know who I am super close to? My best friend of 30 years said she's unraveled. And I met this person through them. It's one of the nicest men you could ever meet. And just for clarity, let me say, he did suffer from cancer for the last 3 years, and in May rang the bell. And so his immune system through chemotherapy was not able to handle COVID and passed away. And so you can't say, don't be afraid of COVID to me, because I say, I don't want to be in like mindset fear, but I want to be I'm a biological human being. And if I'm standing in front of a bus and don't have fear, there's a problem. So to me, it's discernment.
Absolutely. That's a great word.
Right. Like you don't have to, like, you're not laying in bed in your bed at night with Meryl going, I need to be afraid of being non-binary and married to a woman.
Right.
I'm not going, I need to be afraid of the abortion laws in Texas. It's not that.
Right.
But there's an and. And when you're in certain places, your prickles are up because you're a biological fucking miracle.
Yep. And we have discernment. And fear is an emotion, period. And anything we try to exile or bypass ain't gonna work. It's just not.
But that's what I love is when we sit and say, fear, tell me what you're feeling. And fear is going, well, I think if you're in northern Michigan, some Trumper's going to come out with a baseball bat. You know what, sweetheart? You are so right. Thank you for being on guard.
Absolutely.
And I want to let you know that I'm 37 years old now, and I have a few things in place, including, right, like I promise I will never go into a restroom without Meryl. I do. You're right. I'm so glad you're here. I call it my own personal secret service. And I tell my secret service team, I'm like, being on secret service 24/7 must be really exhausting. And they're like, yes, but we're scared you're going to not be safe. Mm-hmm. And I said, so here's what I need you to know. Number one, I'm 49 and a half years old, this, and this, and here's my general landscape. Number two is I would like for you to keep your job, but would you willing to job share with somebody else? And would you keep a beeper on? That dates me. Right?
I grew up in the beeper world. I mean,
could you keep a walkie-talkie on? And I would prefer that you be on call than on duty.
Yes.
And what I would like is to have a team of you where I assess threat.
Mm.
Right. So like you're actually, Erin, one of my levels of threat assessment, right? If you're a person that I can say, parts emergency, I will contact Erin before needing that part because Erin can say, I hear your parts. Let's assess the situation. You're safe. No, Allison, actually, you're not safe. Let's activate that part.
Right.
Right. So like I have this whole secret service team, but I don't want anybody in my system working 24/7.
No, because that's what leads us to the exhaustion.
Exactly. And so what I'm learning to do is treat like I'm fully supported. I have coach, I have husband, I have dogs. And this is not even the self-reliant part. I have peers that I can reach out to. I have, like, if I send the bat signal to Erin.
I love bat signals too.
If I send the bat signal to you and say parts emergency, even if I just get a little love button from you, my parts go, oh, we're not alone.
Yeah.
I don't even need a full coaching session or something like that. And so what I love is I'm being able to tell these highly vigilant and over functioning parts, I don't want you to be not functioning. I just want you to have a reasonable work schedule. Good boy and girl.
Totally.
And here's the other people on the team. And by the way, I may need you.
And that's the thing, right? These parts decide, just like some of us are like, and your live was great about this today, right? That we get overly self-reliant. The parts themselves get overly self-reliant too. And so part of this work is getting the whole system on board, working in harmony and in sync to know when, okay, vigilance needs to be out right now, and controller needs to be out right now. And, achiever, take a rest.
Yeah. Yeah, right. And like the one that I have a part assigned, the exile is like worried about any criticism. And I love Brene Brown's, like, these are the people that criticism matters.
Yes. Yep.
And the way they'll bring you criticism is very different from the stranger on the interwebs. And I mean, you're writing a book, I'm writing a book. And there's a part of me that, like, loves my book. And then there a part of me is like, you ain't fucking telling the world this. Right. And God, I just am so thankful for this work. And I'm thankful for you. I realize we've gone on an hour and 20. Yes, it's going to be an hour and 20-minute podcast. And I'm totally fine with that.
I mean, this is... It's only the most important conversation you could be having right now. And I'm saying that both in humor and also in seriousness.
I think the humor, like, I have humorous parts in it, in our shared combined old world. Sometimes it was like, don't try to be funny. You're pushing something down. And now I'm so thankful for that funny part. I think she's hilarious. And we've also got an agreement. You can be funny and I can feel you.
Totally.
Like, I love
my funny parts do so well with coaching. Sometimes it's just enough to diffuse that tense thing that whatever part is like throwing up its protection. If I can just diffuse it for a minute. I remember my therapist did it to me today. She couldn't make a triangle with her hand, and I just laughing my ass off, and it was perfect because we were going into something quite heavy.
Well, and someone was like, you're just bypassing. And I'm like, maybe I'm not bypassing. Maybe I'm just giving a crutch. And it's okay for parts of my system to have a crutch.
Absolutely.
Like, why is that wrong? Why do I have to come into this world raw? I don't know if you know this about me, but right before... I want
to know everything about Allison Crow. Do you not know this?
I don't know you know this part of me, because she's been really... like, not front stage, but I have a comedian part. And in May of 2020, with my event, on the Friday night of my event, this is how I'd worked it for myself. I sold public tickets to my first comedy life coaching performance where
you got to do this again.
I know. And like, it feels really weird to make fun of, because it was called Because Life is Funny. And my husband was like, but you don't have a set. And I was like, no, you don't understand. The humor and the coaching are in the room. Like, I'm just going to coach. And so I was going to have all my clients that were at Camp Star Heart, but I also sold tickets. I had sold 3 tickets outside of it before COVID hit. But I do have this part of me that, what's the guy's name? Kyle Cease, that like does comedy and personal development.
Yeah.
That she's resting, and she's just sitting back, like with her feet up on the desk, being like, y'all bitches solve the world's problems. And just tell me when I'm back on, because there is a part of me that.
Let me just say this to you. Mandy Leto has a coach named Emma Stroud.
I know.
And Emma Stroud is a freaking clown and coaches from that space of play and humor. So if Emma Stroud can do it, you can do it too. I don't even know Emma. I might meet her soon, but from what I understand, she's fucking hilarious, and it is transformational to be in her space.
Exactly. And a lot of the coaching world, it's like, oh no, that's a tool. I'm very aware that it's a tool to bypass. I'm very aware that I drank wine today just to make this like, I'm so ready for my medical PTSD weed. It's
discernment, but you made a conscious choice, right? There's a discernment. When you have awareness, you have discernment. Yes. And so there's a very different world when we're making decisions by default versus discernment.
There you go. Right. So I love this.
I'm more brilliant with beer. So.
Right. I actually did do a coaching session one time at a painting retreat, and I had a particular client that I knew used marijuana often, and she was really fucking uptight. And so I finally said, could you do me a favor and go smoke a bowl and then come back? And I put a blindfold on her to paint. And I was like, I need you to trust that your other sisters at this painting retreat will not let you fuck this painting up. And they poured different colors of painting in her hands. And she had this really contrived, and Valerie, I'm talking about you. They had this really contrived, she had this really controlled painting. And what she ended up, I think they gave her lime green and hot pink and gold. And it created this mess on top of the conservation. At the time, she owned a yoga studio. She sold the yoga business. But she put it up on the walls, and it was such the juxtaposition of both and. It was such, right? And what I loved was like, so that's a whole other part of IFS that I'm not totally into. That's further down my road, but talking about the use of psychedelics in a controlled, medically responsible way to support people who are not able to access these parts of us. It's really beautiful work. And so Google search internal family systems, Google search, you don't have to be a practitioner. You can be a lay person. There's amazing books.
No Bad Parts is such an accessible book. I have a client reading it right now who then told the entire mastermind that everyone needs to read it. So
you can work with Erin. You can work with me. Erin, tell everybody a little bit about your books. So let's go ahead and plant some seeds for you to have a bestseller. What's your book about?
So I wish I had known about IFS before this. So the book itself is secretly and has always secretly been about how to get to know, like, and trust yourself. But on the more surface level, it's about how to turn your entrepreneurial venture, I don't like that word completely, into an adventure. And so I love the wilderness. I love hiking. And I had this idea that when we're, in entrepreneurship, we're in a wilderness with no map. And we're building our own map. And so I'm calling this the land of possibility. And there's 10 essentials that you bring with you. And they're not the 10 essentials you bring in the wilderness. They're not your like extra food, they're extra water, shelter. It's the things that make your adventure fun, creative, curious, courageous. So I have items like your lab coat, because you're going to turn everything you do into an experiment, and you're going to think of everything you do as data. I have courage weights. I have magic beans. My favorite concept in the whole world is high intention and low attachment to outcomes. So high intention toward a goal, low attachment to outcomes. My friend Shelley Paxton was at an event where they called it Hyla. And I was like, oh, that's a great thing. So it's now your Hyla hat. So you put on your Hyla hat when you're in high intention and low attachment. And so it's going to be all about this adventure with these essentials that basically bring you back into self and bring you into know, like, and trust. And then there's going to be a whole section on like never hike alone, how to get support. And there's going to be lots of client stories. I've actually created avatars of hikers that are different clients I've worked with in different businesses. And there's going to be stories from me. And my goal is just have as much fun as I can writing the thing. And if anyone buys it, fantastic.
Can you add an 11th chapter called the Poise Pads?
I don't even know what that means.
I know. You're too young for Poise Pads, and you're non-binary, but
I do. And I know what you're talking about. But
I know, but Poise Pads, like the permission to have a leaky pee-pee.
Yep. all of this is permission to do everything differently. Really.
I went to an event and Poise was the sponsor. And at first I was horrified. And then I was like, this is brilliant.
I mean, it is brilliant.
Poise is my favorite thing. So
I'm really bullish on this, though. This is not about how to survive, because all the 10 essentials in the wilderness are survival. This is about, I hate the word thrive, but I don't have anything better. It's about how to make this the most fun, creative, courageous adventure of your life. And what ends up happening is you learn all the destinations you're trying to go to don't matter because you're having so much fun bushwhacking in the wilderness, having no idea where we're going.
But that's the whole point, is like life is not easy. I play the worst case scenario game with my clients all the time. And for the first few years I did that, I was like, no, seriously, I need to know your zombie apocalypse plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're in a fucking coma. What do you do with your business? And they're like, God, you're so negative. And I'm like, no, I'm fucking realistic. Data experiment. And when you mentally have the preparations for the adventure, then it's so much easier to take the adventure.
Totally. And I will say, you will appreciate this. One of my essentials is art supplies. Because I do believe that we need to be thinking creatively. And so I pull out my colored pencils all the time. I'm not a visual artist by any stretch of the imagination, but our adventures require creativity. And so art supplies are part of it. And I'm thinking, even I haven't gotten this far down the line, but I'm actually thinking about creating a box for people who early order the book where they can actually get their Hyla hat and they can get a little lab coat. And so just imagine running your business with your Hyla hat and your lab coat on, and like everything's data. And it's like, I'm not a robot. I can feel my feelings, but it's just a data point. It's all good.
I think data is huge. I have a whole podcast coming on that, or that I'm developing in my mind, because a couple of weeks ago I was having a live retreat and I thought I had COVID, and I worried about it for 4 days instead of getting the fucking test. I went in, I got the test, and in 15 minutes I had the data that helped me. And so often, especially when we're mindset coaches or in the coaching world or in the intellectual world, we want to solve it intellectually without the concrete data. Yep. And so treating everything as I'm like, oh my God, are you listening in on my coaching sessions? Because we talk about I
tell people to put on your lab coat.
Experiment. Yeah. Hypothesis, gather your materials, do your experiment, assess the results.
It's just every action is a data point. It's a success or a failure with no meaning until you've done enough data collection where you can kind of look at the pattern. And what I tell people all the time, and this goes back to feelings, because people say, well, I don't want to be a robot just being like data, data, data. You can feel your feelings, and it's an and. Yeah. So something fails. It sucks. And it's okay. It's data.
And what if you don't have, like, of all the things you feel miserable about, what if data gave you permission not to suffer?
It does. It completely does, because it's outside of you. So you propose to a potential client, they say no, data point. Propose to another one, data point. If you get to like 15 in a row, okay, maybe I should look back and see how I'm proposing and see what's going on here. But until you have enough data of no's, you can't make any conclusions. And so you just
and then that's the other thing. If the data tells you to worry or to create a plan, if the science shows you have cancer,
then change the course.
You change your behavior based on it to work with the cancer. And so, but this whole like being in the Google MD of what cancer, what is and what isn't cancer, or what is and isn't COVID, go take the fucking test. Go get the data so that you know which direction to go. God, you and I could talk all day long.
We could.
How can people follow you, be exposed to your work, get in touch with you?
The easiest way, I'm transitioning myself to be more on Instagram. It's the easiest way to find me. Although I'm sure people can find me on this because this will be on Facebook, right? At Dr Erin M Baker. People can go to my website. It's erinmbaker.com. I have episodes of 2 different podcasts there. Shift Starters was the most recent podcast. I also did Life in the And. I just had fascinating conversations with fascinating people, and the podcast is on pause while I work on the book, but it will definitely come back.
Thank you so much for being spontaneous and bringing all your parts to this conversation. I can't wait to play it out in the world.
Me too.
I'm so glad I'm not giving permission for everybody in the world to stalk me. Like, it just worked out fine with Erin. So let me set a boundary. Like, only if you're aligned will I respond to your stalking. If you stalk me and you're not aligned, I'm not going to respond. But Erin and I were meant to dance in this world together. I appreciate you.
And I appreciate you for speaking what's on my brain, because seriously, it is so great to connect with somebody else's parts, even virtually, and know that I am not alone.
I know, isn't that the best? Like, that's what we do in community is like, we bring, if 9 people come to the group call, like all 18 of their not all 18, but a handful of their parts come, and it's so beautiful to all be together. It's building a web of support that is full body support. It's not just mental support. It's the trapeze. Have you ever done trapeze?
I have.
And then you fall off onto that thing, and it's like, oh my gosh, this doesn't. It holds you.
It's an experience, at least from both being a participant and having clients, where it's like jaw-dropping how connected with our humanity we can get when we are in these spaces where people show their humanity.
And then, like, that really wasn't as scary as I thought it would be.
Right? For me, it goes to, like, I stopped being able to be in normal circles because I'm like, if we're not talking about this deep shit right now, I'm not interested.
I think that's one of the reasons I love you, is because honestly, there's a part of me that doesn't trust that most human beings can hold me.
God, I feel that too.
I'm always the one holding people. And so thank you for being somebody that, even though we come from different and same worlds, that I know that you can hold me. So I love you. Thank you.
I received that. You're welcome.
I'm going to end the podcast. Is there any final words that you want to share before I end the recording?
I just want to say to all of you out there who are kicking and screaming about your parts being welcome, just remember that if you try to tamp them down, it's like a kickboard in a swimming pool. And the harder you try to hold the kickboard down, the more it's going to like slip out from under you and pop you in the face. So you might as well let it just float around at the surface with you and splash around and kick around and have some fun.
Yeah, it's really beautiful to just be with parts, and I listen. I call it meet myself.
Yeah.
Oh, hi. Nice to meet you. Tell me about you.
There is nothing better in this world than getting to know, like, and trust you.
Yourself. And thank you for promoting my book. You didn't even know you were doing that. Peace out, y'all.
You're welcome.
I'm going to end this broadcast, and then I'm going to finish up privately with Erin. Dr. Bagel. Hey, if you enjoyed this episode and want to dive deeper, come check out Soulful Success. It's my online coaching membership community where we dive deep into the practices of being and doing that help you create your unique version of soulful success in the world. It's a special community of small business owners just like you, and it's where I show up and give my clients personal support at an accessible fee. Check it out at www.soulfulsuccess.info. That's SOULFULLSUCCESS.info. Soulfulsuccess.info. As always, thanks for listening. Totally appreciate you thinking about somebody who might really love this episode and you sharing it with them. Also, I always appreciate your reviews. It's like podcast currency. It's like a tip in the jar saying thanks. And finally, if you want to share on social media a screenshot or any insights you get from listening to this episode, I will totally respond. You can share with the hashtag BetterLifeBetterWorkShow. This show is sponsored by my 3 rescued dogs, Leroy Brown, Clementine, and Rocky Potato. They're here to remind you to consider adoption when you get your next pet. More is not better, better is better.